what's advice for someone who's looking to buy right now, like me? Like I don't know if I can rent anymore. I'm getting pretty sick of renting an apartment. I want to buy a
So,
house.
there are a lot of people out there that are trying to convince everybody that renting is the way to go, right? And I think if you look, a lot of those people that are out there putting that out there, it's kind of self-serving.
They're benefiting from it.
Yeah, because they own apartment complexes.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I understand the benefits that are pitched to people that rent. I think that that's somebody that has an ulterior motive trying to say, hey, here's why you should be a tenant. I'm a landlord. It's in my best interest if you're a tenant, right? However, I tell everybody I disagree. I think home ownership, if you look, and I hate to get on the Dave Ramsey train, but if you look at Dave Ramsey, you look at the average millionaire and where they get their highest source of their net worth comes from their personal home. It's like a forced savings account, right? Like right now, your rent is literally thrown away, and on top of that,
just burning
you don't get depreciation, you don't get any of the write-offs, you don't get any of the ability to the tax savings that come with it. You don't get I don't think you get the pride and ownership, which I think is valuable, right?
Yeah.
People have this negative thing when I say pride of ownership, but there's
I
something.
want my own thing.
Yeah, there's something about coming home to your thing that's
Yes.
yours, and taking pride in your home, taking pride in your yard, whatever you find, like, I think it's really awesome to see people that make it their own, like from the yard, from, like these like Zen gardens, really taking a thing and making it yours, and you can go, oh, well, I could do that in a rental. It's less common, and if you are, you're only improving the value of the property for somebody else, right? And you're doing that, and you can take that pride of ownership, and that's fine. But at some point, you're not going to be there.
It's not yours, yeah.
It's not yours, right? And so I feel like there's a lot that I get from pride of ownership of my properties, and I go out and I work really hard, and then I come home to quote unquote my home.
And that's how you recharge too. Like, how are you gonna live the life you want if you can't even like relax at your,
Well, if you had bought, and I'll just there's a neighborhood near this office that we were buying houses that were, $175,000 to $250,000 in 2016, 17, 18. Okay. In 21 and 22, those same houses were $500,000. So had you just been a tenant, right, and you were in one of my property literally basically doubled in value in 4 years while you paid me rent every single month. So as a tenant, you're paying my taxes, my insurance, and if I had one, a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Right? You're literally paying everything, the cost for me to own, and if I'm a good landlord, and there's some profit built in there, right? There's some cash flow, positive cash flow, right? You don't get in the business for nothing, right? You're not trying to break even. So I literally have tenants that pay the entire cost to own the property, plus pay me a little bit of positive cash flow every single month.
Yeah.
All the while, in a 4 or 5 or 6 year period, my property doubled in value. Right? Now, if you're a renter, you shared in none of that growth. All that wealth creation, it benefited you in no way. Actually, what actually happened is during that same period, the cost to rent went through the roof.
Yeah.
I continually raised your rents over and over and over again, right? And to
continue to foot that bill, that you got to adapt for it.
No, well, that, and then what's market rent? I can raise my rents and still be under market rent. Right? So if you thought it was unfair and you want to go look somewhere else, you're welcome to. But what people were finding is that I was still under market rent, right? Because if you have an existing tenant, I've got to kind of keep up with the market, but I don't need to outprice the market. So I tried to make it to where, hey, this is a better deal than what you're going to find on the open market, but I still have to adjust the price as things go, right? And so it's the tenant in that situation. They've got the use of the property, but they've got none of the other benefits. And so for me, I think the biggest mistake that anybody can make is paying rent long term.
Yeah.
If you were to tell me that you're going to be in a neighborhood or in a new city for 2 or 3 or 4 months and you don't know the area, you don't know where you want to live, you're trying to figure it out, or maybe you don't have the capacity to manage something if you were to have to leave the state.
Yeah.
Like if you had all these other factors, I could start to go, okay, well, temporarily this makes sense, right? Until you can figure out what a plan is and put one in place. But I don't know of a scenario with a little bit of work that you can't own something for less than you rent it for.
Yeah.
Which to me means own it, and if your circumstance changes, sell it or become a landlord.
Yeah.
Right? You let somebody else pay your taxes, your insurance, your payment, right? And a little bit of cash flow every month. And then to boot, if you don't know anything about being a landlord, hire a property management company. And again, that's going to cut in. It's probably going to be a break-even deal at that point, at this point with the way everything is. But you're breaking even, but you're also getting your tax write-offs, and you're also getting property appreciation and value over time. So, Dave gives a great example. Let's say that you went out tomorrow and you bought a $200,000 house, and his whole thing is put it on a 15-year. I think it's no more than 25% of your monthly take-home income can be used towards your mortgage. Put it on a 15-year payment and pay it off, right? And there's a couple other steps. But if you use that method and you said, okay, I'm going to go out and get a property that can be paid off in 15 years, and I'm going to put a tenant in it and just rent it. So let's say you bought a $200,000 house. The national average used to be, and I don't have a current number, that homes doubled every 16 years. That's national. And obviously you can dial into certain areas and it gets better or worse than that, right? But if you just use that national average and say, hey, the home is going to double statistically in 16 years. So you go today, you buy a $200,000 house, you put a tenant in it, you let them pay the payment, taxes, and insurance. Over the years, the rent's going to go up, right? But at minimum, we know we're going to break even. If you just fast forward 16 years, you've got a $200,000 house that's paid for, but no, it's not true because statistically, it's going to be worth $400,000. So now you fast forward 16 years, your tenants have paid your home off, and you have an asset worth $400,000, right? You want to be a millionaire, do that 2.5 times.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be a millionaire, buy a $500,000 house, 15-year note, wait 16 years, right? Basically, the year after the home is paid for, put tenants in it, and statistically, your $500,000 house turns into a $1 million house. So your tenants could really, it just becomes acquire an asset, let someone else pay for it.